Okay, so now we start part 2 of publishing in the clouds. And what we're going to look at in this video is basically two ideas. One's called Webquests, which are very cool, and the second idea is tag clouds. And you'll again pick one of these as an assignment question. So again, I'm just going to give you an overview, give you a rough idea how they work, and then it'll be up to you to pick your favorite and put together something for me as a little assignment. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about, and again, these are all from Mr. Shirelli's Teaching in the Clouds, cshirelliweebly.com. We're going to take a look at Webquests, and the first one I'm going to show you, very cool, is called, it's got a funny name, Untitled Webquest Maker. All right, and it's basically at that address. You can get to it from my site. And I just wanted to show you one that I put together about what is cloud computing, very appropriate. What you can do with this would be cool for an assignment for a class where you wanted to have like a project that had a whole bunch of different ideas and you wanted them really nicely organized. Now remember, this is from a teacher's perspective, this example, but you hopefully get the idea. I have a title, what is cloud computing? I give you a basic introduction to it, and then here's my introduction. I throw in a graphic, and this program lets you add all these features. Okay, and down at the bottom it actually you can add links that I'd like you to go to. And this is from a teacher's perspective. I might give you something to try after, right? And so I have a column called task. So I would say find some information on this. Okay, and then I might say here's how you're going to do your assignment. So what you're doing here is why it's called a web quest. It's a quest. You are looking for answers to something, and I'm going to guide you by showing you stuff on the internet plus some notes in front of you, right? So here's going to be the process, and I'm actually going to tell you places where you can get information on cloud computing, and to show you a video, so you can add all kinds of these things. Now think of this for a project for one of your classes where you might have all these different topics, and you list all these things the teacher can look at. Some PDF files you found on the internet, a video. So it's kind of a cool way, a different way to present material. All right, and then of course, because it's for a student, because I'm doing it for you guys, there'd be some marking, tell you how I'm going to mark it and things like that, and a conclusion. So this is one example of what's called a web quest, and this is one called Zuno, kind of a funny name. I'm going to click on the home button for a second. So all kinds of other things that you can do, and actually you can get ideas because they've got all kinds of lists here of other projects people can make. Obviously you have to sign in to use it, and then it lets you add and modify different things. So that one's the first one that I really like. Another one that's a little bit different, it's called Jog the Web, and this is actually a lot easier than the other one, but doesn't have as many features. What you do here is you lead, from my perspective, students through a bunch of links, or if it was you guys showing me something, maybe if you were into a particular topic like basketball, you might have the history of basketball, your favorite teams, what's going on right now, and you would lead me through a bunch of links. So we just did that one called Glogster in the first video. So I'm going to lead you through a bunch of links about what's so good about Glogster and how you would use it and a bunch of different things. So there would be an introduction. So most of these are links to sites. You don't really do as much writing in this one. So there's a typical Glogster page. Kind of neat, right? And then I would tell you if you were going to use Glogster, here would be some of the steps involved. So you do write some stuff. Okay. Then step 3, again, this is a web quest. This one's called Jog the Web. It takes you to this site. We've actually done this before. That's Quickie. Okay, so this is how you would put together maybe an assignment for a history class. All right, and then step 4. So this is called Jog the Web. Again, you're showing me steps, and you're adding either pictures or links, and mostly links to other sites. Okay, see that thing? We're going to do that in a second. That's called a tag cloud. That's kind of cool. All right, then some other ideas on how to use Glogster, and then a complete sample project in Glogster on a history. Isn't that neat? Okay, and then step 6. So what this one is basically a bunch of little links going from one page to the other. Again, it might be a neat way to hand in an assignment for one of your classes. Okay, that one's called Jog the Web. All right, so that's the first class of things I wanted to talk about today. There are other ones like this. This whole kind of thing is called Webquests. All right, now a couple of other neat ones. Tag clouds. Tag clouds are really cool. Now, if you don't know where I've used them before, I want to show you an example of a tag cloud. I use it actually on our school website, and what I did there is I told this program to go to our school website and then get all the different words and make this. Okay, now this is kind of a dull tag cloud, but basically it has links to different parts of our school website. Okay, or you can do it for anything. Matter of fact, in this particular my original program here, Shirley Weebly, I'm going to go to the home page. Okay, and when it starts up, I have a tag cloud of all the links in this exact program. So if I click on, for instance, this one here, word processing, it would take me to the page on the word processing. That's a tag cloud. Now there's cooler tag clouds than that. There's tag clouds where they look like pictures. I'll show you, so that you can actually make clothing out of them or something like that. So there's other different types of tag clouds that I'll show you in a few minutes. Here's an example of a tag cloud that has a person's face on it. Now I don't want to log in there. I'm going to stop that for a second. We'll go to this one right here. This one right here is pretty good. Okay, so some of them ask you to log in, some of them don't. That's a tag cloud. All right, it's just a bunch of words in a design, which is kind of different, right? So that'll give you an idea of what I eventually want to do. We're going to do a couple of those together today, too. Okay, so this first one here, called the tag cloud generator, this one you need an actual website to use it. So like, let's say we wanted to use our school website. What you would do is you would feed in the URLs. It could be for any site you want, and you'd press generate. And within a couple of seconds, it would, and you'll see it in a few seconds, it would generate the actual links. So this one's mostly for links. Okay, it even has some examples here. Okay, so after a couple of seconds, this would be the tag cloud generated from those links. And then you can fool around with this. You can change the colors, the size, how many levels it goes within the site. You get more and more links. It gets a little bit crazy if you do that. But that's the first kind. Okay, that's your basic tag cloud generator for links. That's the boring one. That's not the one I'd like you to do if you use this one. What I want you to do is come up with something a little bit more clever. And that would take us to this one called Tagizo. Okay, kind of a funny name. And here's basically the way you would use it. All right, so first of all, you'd press create. And what it would want you to do is, and isn't that cool? All right, and it goes over it. What you want it to do is, first of all, you'd pick a shape that you want to work with, right? So you can pick whatever shape you want. You're going to pick that angel there. You can pick something else. It's up to you. And what it does is it matches the words to the picture. Now you're going, well, what if I don't want those words? You're right. All right, you can type your own words. You can do whatever you want. Now, when you press load, it's going to ask you, do you want me to make a tag cloud of a web page? Not really. We just did that one already, right? This one here would ask you for words. Now you could type in some words yourself. That would be a kind of a boring tag cloud, but I'll do it for a second. There's not enough words. That's the only problem. Okay. So what I would ask you to do is find somebody's speech or something. Okay. So what happens with a tag cloud? The word that happens the most usually is emphasized. So I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. There is Stephen Harper, who is our Prime Minister. He did a speech, right? So what I'm going to do is, it starts right about there. I'm going to grab it all. I'm going to go right down to the bottom to where it ends. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, and there he says, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention, right there. So all of this, I'm going to grab it, and now we're going to start fresh again. So I'm going to rub this one out and paste in that whole speech. It's quite large. Now, I want to analyze this speech, because sometimes when like famous people make speeches, they emphasize some words, like, you know, to emphasize their points. I want to see what words he kept repeating in his speech. Second thing, before I actually say, okay, make my tag cloud, let's change the shape. Okay, so let's pick a different shape. It's too bad there's not a picture of Canada. Okay, let's pretend this is Canada, it's Australia. I'm going to press it for a sec. So that's the shape we're going to use. Okay, so we're set up there. All right, now we're still using test though, but we're going to go back to where it says load, and there's my new sentence that I want to use. I could change the colors too. You want to change the colors, you can. We can fool around with that after. I'm going to press submit, and in a couple of seconds what it's going to do is give me a tag cloud of his speech. There it is. And let's see what the biggest words were. It seems to have used Canada a lot. Economic, that was a very common word. Didn't seem to use the word planet a lot. It's one of the tinier ones. But what you've done very quickly is you've created what's called a tag cloud. Now, how are you going to give that to me as part of your assignment? Well, you're going to get to me as a picture probably. All right? Or if you were doing this as an essay, you might throw it in your essay. But like, where do you do that, right? So you click on share. And if you're doing it for a website, you could give me a link, and this would create your link for you. All right. So if you gave it a title or something and you press submit, watch what happens down here. It makes the links. All right. I don't want that. All right. And I don't want you to print it. We're going to press an image, and you're going to give it to me as a JPEG. And you can give it to me as a huge JPEG or a little JPEG. Doesn't matter what. When you press one of these choices, all right, what it does is it makes you point to your computer, and then you type in a name, whatever you call it. I'll call it test, and it lets it be saved on your computer. Okay. Now, you can also put it on Facebook, do whatever you want to it, just to show you what it would look like after it's been saved on your computer. This is what you would send me, by the way. All right. So there's your sample image. I'll preview it. And there it is right there. That would be your JPEG. Very simple, very easy to use, but you have to do it to something important, like a speech or something, which would emphasize. Now, when you go over the picture, it doesn't make the words pop up, obviously, but that's a pretty good idea of how you would use it. Okay, so those are the two main ideas for the second part of your assignment on desktop publishing in the clouds. So we covered what are called web quests, which are guided discoveries of things on the internet, and I gave you the perspective of the teacher, but if you were doing it as a student, you could use Jog the Web or that Zoonal Webquest Maker to put together a nice little project for one of your classes. Now, I don't want you to get carried away, but do something simple maybe from there. Or if you like this stuff here called tag clouds, you could use the one that I just showed you right now. Okay, that's probably the best one to use. I also showed you how to use the tag cloud generator. So those are two other applications of putting something that usually you would do on paper, on the internet, and using some really neat applications.